In 1980, we bought our first television. I don't mean that because we didn't have electricity. It was a small TV powered by a car battery. When it came on, the first show we watched was The Simpsons, and it was in French. The feeling was literally indescribable, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it was the first cartoon I ever watched as a child. In the late 1980s, an animated series about an eccentric family from the fictional town of Bringfield exploded onto television screens, changing the entertainment landscape forever. The series was created by Matt Groening. It began as a series of short segments on The Tracy Ullman Show in 1987, before evolving into a half-hour primetime series on Fox in 1989. Owned by one of the world's most famous billionaires, Rupert Murdoch, who controls half of Western media. With its sarcastic humor, sharp social commentary, and quirky characters, Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie, The Simpsons grew from a niche cartoon into a global phenomenon, spawning merchandise, movies, and even attractions in major amusement parks around the world, generating billions of dollars in profits. However, over the past 10 years, it seemed as if the series had reached its end, paving the way for other series to take over the market. Here's the story behind the series.
The Simpsons. Who is behind it? How did it manage to conquer the media world for more than 30 years? How did it predict future events? And the fundamental question is, why did it collapse in such a dramatic way? Here's a brief synopsis. The series was created in 1987 in the United States by ambitious cartoonist Matt Groening. Matt was a young man with a high level of drawing skills, so he was working on his project, certain that it would revolutionize the world of animation in America. Indeed, he succeeded in creating a cartoon family that reflected the daily lives of Americans in a satirical and unconventional way. And thus, the Simpsons family was born. Homer, the lazy dad who can't resist donuts. Marge, the devoted mom with striking blue hair. Bart, the mischievous son who became a symbol of rebellion. Lisa, the smart daughter who dreams of changing the world, and Maggie, the quiet baby who says a lot without saying a word. Initially, The Simpsons wasn't the full-length series we know today. It was a 2-minute animated series on The Tracy Ullman Show. Despite its absurd brevity, it was packed with clever observations and dark humor, delving into the everyday lives of most Americans. Viewership began to skyrocket, and at the same time, Matt Groening began hearing from viewers that the show should be longer.
Fox Network, a relatively new network at the time, decided to take a risk on this bold project and funded The Simpsons, transforming it from short segments into a full-length half-hour series. Imagine a half-hour animated series with viewers not just children, but people of all ages and backgrounds. And so it was, until December 17, 1989, when the first official episode, Simpson Roasting on Olton Farm, aired, marking the beginning of one of the most popular cartoons in history. But as is expected with anything new and different, the beginning was never easy, and The Simpsons faced fierce criticism from the very first episode. Some conservative groups in America, which were widespread in American communities in the 1980s and 1990s, viewed the series as promoting immoral values, particularly the character of Bart. These people, especially parents, viewed him as a bad role model for children because of his rebellious behavior and his famous refrain, "Eat my shorts." Americans at the time were unaccustomed to such behavior and ideas, let alone in cartoons usually made for children. Criticisms didn't stop with the general public. They even came from then-President George H.W. Bush, who attacked the series in a 1992 speech, saying that the American family should be closer to the family.
The perfect family from the old series, not The Simpsons. But do you think this massive amount of criticism from the highest authorities in America stopped the show? No, not at all. Quite the opposite. These criticisms and this debate, which turned into a wonderful public debate, with TV channels, radio stations, newspapers, and politicians all talking about this show, increased The Simpsons' fame and gave it a gift and a rocket boost that no one else could have dreamed of. Most people loved this rebellion and this boldness, And as a result, the series began attracting millions of viewers and became the talk of the town and almost every American household. The criticisms turned into free publicity. Fox exploited this event and increased its funding to push the series forward. The amazing thing about The Simpsons is that by the mid-1990s, it was no longer just an ordinary show. It had become a global phenomenon. Episodes were filled with clever jokes that combined satire and social criticism, what we call black comedy. But what made The Simpsons so special in the eyes of Americans? Simply put, the series was
Reflecting their lives, it wasn't just a comedy for laughs. It raised profound questions about the workings of American society, addressing issues such as political corruption, educational problems, religion and family conflicts, or even predicting future events, all portrayed in a way that made you laugh and think at the same time. The characters, Homer, Bart, and Lisa, became iconic. They weren't just cartoons, they became part of popular culture. This success wasn't just commercial. The Simpsons won over 30 Emmy Awards and was hailed by critics as one of the best television series of all time. It was seen as a work of art that shaped characters and ideologies for millions of people, not just a children's entertainment show. Most importantly, each episode offered something new and was never the same as the previous one. At the beginning of the new century, with the arrival of the year 2000, The Simpsons reached its peak, with dialogue and cinematography reaching an unimaginable level of quality, and the characters developed in amazing ways, which made viewership skyrocket. Imagine that a single episode of the series attracted more than 20 million viewers in America, was broadcast in more than 100 countries, and was translated into dozens of languages. But, as the saying goes, every beginning has an end. At the beginning of 2010, it began,
Why did The Simpsons show up? The episodes no longer held the same charm. The jokes became repetitive and tired, and the stories began to lack the creativity, enthusiasm, and excitement of their past. It was clear that the producers' main concern was increasing the number of episodes without paying attention to the content. Simply put, the series had become a mere means of attracting money and nothing else. This result was due to many factors, not just one. The first was the changes that occurred within the original writing team. The original writers behind The Simpsons' golden age gradually began to leave, one by one. This is only natural. A series with 700 episodes and 30 seasons, what do you expect? Some died, others were too old, and the new generation of writers lacked the same spirit and continued to be as creative. Therefore, it was clear that there was a very large gap between the old and new seasons. The second reason was the shift in audience tastes, with the emergence of new series like Ricky and Morty, BoJack Horseman, and The Family Guy, offering deeper, more complex, and more creative content. Compared to The Simpsons, these shows would seem outdated. The third reason was technological advancements, with the emergence of online streaming platforms that changed the rules of the game. People now prefer to watch entire seasons at once, rather than waiting for each episode to arrive. Waiting is like sitting by a fire.
The remaining producers of The Simpsons stuck with it and continued with the same approach of one episode per week on television. Despite all these factors, The Simpsons began to lose its audience little by little. However, with each passing year, as they continued with this same approach, the audience began to leak out like a dam when its gates open. The series, which had attracted 20 million viewers, barely reached 3 million in some episodes, mostly from loyal viewers from the beginning. In May 2025, The Simpsons aired its final episode, bringing a 36-year run of more than 700 episodes to an end. The decision to end the series was multifaceted: creative, financial, and cultural. On the creative side, the show's writers and producers, including longtime showrunner Al Jean, acknowledged the challenge of finding new stories after years of broadcasting. Financially, The Simpsons remained a major source of revenue for Fox and Disney, which acquired 20th Century Fox in 2019. However, production costs rose and viewership declined, leading to the show being abandoned and other projects being focused on.
The 36th and final episode served as a dramatic farewell, revisiting classic stories and characters. The finale, titled Springville Forever, is said to have focused on the Simpsons family reflecting on their lives, with appearances by fan-favorite characters like Lisa and Bart.
Many people and critics consider this episode one of the most emotionally powerful, leaving a deep impact that may even cause some to cry uncontrollably. Fans shared their memories on social media using the hashtag #ThankYouSimpsons. Although the series ended with a tribute, it still lives on like a ghost. One of the main reasons The Simpsons refuses to die is its reputation for predicting future events, a phenomenon that has sparked wonder, skepticism, and controversy for years, and continues to do so. Throughout its run, The Simpsons has featured scenarios that seemed like predictions of future events, from the presidency of Donald Trump to technological developments, such as smartwatches and Apple Glass, among many other events. This strange feature of the show, which distinguishes it from other series, has led to the emergence of conspiracy theories claiming that the program is actually run by Freemasons, spreading their ideas and plans that will be implemented in reality in the future. The most famous prediction came from the 2000 episode The Road Ahead, in which Lisa becomes President of the United States and mentions that she inherited a budget crisis from President Trump. At the time, Trump was just a businessman with no serious political ambitions, making the scene a mere gag. But when Trump won the election in 2016, the episode went viral on social media, appearing on every website, page, and website. People are still amazed by the bizarre details, such
VZ Kalam hits Rajawani, and not only that, in the 1969 episode, A Crowd Storms Rito, there is a strong similarity. Does this mean that they traveled to Rito's time, part 2? Write me a comment about the topic. By the way, this is a channel that gives away prizes and holds competitions. If you want to join, it's easy. Go and watch the video on the channel and you'll understand more. Bye!